back with what is going to be a best of 3 between NeoStrIKE and Fenk.
Sweet.
Sweet indeed. So here we have it spawning in the top left-hand corner. We have the red Protoss, who we just witnessed play a best of 3 series that he won 2-0. Unfortunately, we did not catch the first game. We have Fenk. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the purple Zerg, who is apparently Masters on the Korean server. We have NeoStrIKE. Now, with him saying he's Masters on the Korean server does have an entirely different metagame than the NA server.
That's very true. I've seen a lot of funky building placements on the KR server. I am Zerg, so even Terran, I've seen 3 barracks on the low ground before expansion, and that to me is a funky building placement. Like you said, there's a different metagame between the NA server and the KR server. They're very macro intensive. Their control is amazing, but we'll see.
Yeah, the Korean server at a high level especially has some absolutely fantastic control.
So we'll see how this Titan does play out. We even probably get to see some Korean buildings if he is from the KR server, and obviously Master, build order.
Possibly. We see the Forge First coming down from Fenk. If this is anything like the last series we witnessed, and this is the same matchup, we could be seeing some cannons going down at the natural. Now, with how early this pool is, I'm sure it'll be held relatively easily, but normally this Overlord that's heading out of his base, that's
2 probes
closest to his base, would normally go at his natural to scout for a proxy pylon, but he doesn't have it there. And the pylon right now already going down.
And here's going to be that drone to scout if there's any shenanigans going on, and it is.
It's going to scout some shenanigans. It sees a pylon, and it's just going to walk up to that probe, say hi, and he starts 4 Zerglings, as well as sending down 2 more drones.
Well, this is actually going to be... Oh, is this going to be warded off? I have no idea. Very amazing cannon placement.
That's some really nice... just
this
micro with the probe there.
Time.
And these 2 cannons here are completely walled off. And if that 1 cannon finishes before he can start hitting it, I don't know. This will be interesting to see. It looks like that pylon is going to be going down, but this cannon will be finished right as that pylon goes down.
Ooh.
So the Zerglings are getting hits on the cannon, but it looks like he's just going to have to back away from it. And now 2 cannons and a pylon here. He may be starting 1 more pylon just to stop it from being a proxy, or an Artosis pylon rather. Castles the hatch and is now sending 5 Zerglings across the map. Cannon starting at Fenk's natural, so he should be able to hold any pressure here. 2 more gases starting for NeoStrIKE. It looks like he may be just simply going for some 1-base play.
Well, it looks like he's going to wall, just like last game. And we saw last game also he went for that proxy expansion as well.
It looks like there is a hole in this wall. Can the Zerglings get through it? Doesn't look like it, or maybe he's just poking up and backing back
No, this
out.
is a complete wall off.
It is. Alright. So, a complete wall. Now starting a 3rd base. Fenk doesn't see it yet. His probe is barely far enough away where he will not see it. But both players now having their natural around the same amount, only a 2.5 second difference between those.
NeoStrIKE does have a couple Zerglings, though, to answer any crazy shenanigans if seen by the Overlord. We'll see. We'll see how this game plays out. It looks like this is what he does against Zerg almost every game.
Well, it's a good thing to do. It punishes Zerg players if they decide to play greedily. Now, this Overlord will be able to see any pylons that go down here. And any
this wasn't even a greedy play. This wasn't even a greedy play. This was just great cannon placement.
It was. But it keeps the Zerg player on his toes. It keeps him from being overly greedy the next game. And it looks like he's not going to be going for any more cannon play here. One of the probes backing up into the cannon just to save it. The other probe on its way home.
So true. I mean, it's be very interesting just to see the composition of NeoStrIKE, and once you're in this position, it's kind of funky. You got to think about what the other player can do, and what you want to do, and what kind of composition you're actually looking for. I know meterlists are really strong, but in a composition like this, if you can't get your third base up, maybe you want roaches to deal with the cannons effectively, but Zerglings will just not deal with the cannons effectively.
What we see here as a response is a 6-minute lair. That is incredibly fast for this matchup. That's about 2.5 to 4 minutes faster, depending on who your player is, than the standard. And we see an infestation pit, so perhaps swarm hosts?
No, I think that's a great answer.
A Nidus Worm! I love Nidus Worms. Do you know how much I love Nidus Worms?
Don't make me say it.
Do you know how much I love Nidus Worms?
Like a camel on hump day.
Nidus Worms this much.
Oh, I got one. I got
much.
One. Like a little girl in a candy shop.
Why does it have to be a little girl, man? Are you sexist? Can't it be a little boy?
Or a child in a candy shop?
There we go. A child in a candy shop. I'm just messing with you. No, when I said, do you know how much I love them, I put my webcam on like large on the stream, and I put my hands out really far. So we do have Swarm Host being the choice here. This Mothership Core coming up, what will it see? Will it see the Nidus Worm?
It will see the Nidus Worm.
It sees the Nidus Worm.
Will it see the Infestation Pit? And it shall.
It sees the Infestation Pit, it sees the Nidus Worm. This Queen, it looks like, is going to be trapping that Mothership Core. And the Mothership Core does go down.
Boom,
I don't know if that scouting info was worth 100-100, but it's a definitely important scouting info.
You kidding me? That scouting was worth every ounce of it. He saw the tech. Obviously, he knows that there's a Nidus Worm on the floor now. Even though it's not worth 100-100, I would give 3 Zealots, which is 300 minerals, to see that tech.
It's not worth the gas. It's worth the minerals, not the gas.
It's worth the minerals, not the gas.
All right, so the Nidus Worm going out right outside of Fenk's natural. Fenk has 3 cannons.
It's a little too late, in my opinion, to stop this Nidus Worm.
I'm not sure. How many Swarm Hosts do we have popping out of this? Right now it's only 3. And a couple of queens and some drones. So it looks like he'll be spining up and laying some creep. So this will be a very good contain.
A very strong contain. There's not much he can do. There is, however, a Warp Prism on the map going to do some harassment. The harassment is going to do quite a bit of damage. You warping a couple Zealots at home. He doesn't have anything at home. He has no static D. He really doesn't have much. He does have, however, a Spinecrawler by the cannons, but it doesn't even matter. I mean, since that forward cannon is still there, why doesn't Fink could just warp in there and still be fine?
There are so many cannons. That's 6 cannons on the field right now. The DT Shrine is halfway completed. The Forge does go down before it can finish even level 1 upgrades. So will that gateway go down? It does indeed go down. If he can pick off that Cyber Core, that would be incredible. But he would have to get some really good angling on it.
I still feel like he can do it. I mean,
he can do it. The Robo Bay is on the way. Colossus is a good answer. Colossus is a very good answer here. It's adding down 2 more gateways here, and I'm not sure if that's the best choice, because those gateways, the cannons, these locusts can attack the gateways without cannons hitting them. So this Warp Prism is now moving in. He warps in 2 DTs at his pylon, and he's just going to load them up into the Warp Prism. There is 1 Spore and 1 Spine here. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough.
I definitely know it's not going to be enough, but on the other hand, he does have a Nidus Worm, so he can just get his army here and there as much as he wants to.
Yep, Spire now started to deal with the possible Colossus transition. Photon Overcharge actually having to be used here. The Swarm Host numbers are rising very, very fast. The DTs in the main do pick off the Spine Crawler. 9 worker kills there, as well as 3 more warping in here.
And 3 queens with
he's pulling back all the
energy.
Queens.
That's a great answer.
And the Queens with that much energy is a good enough answer. But it looks like the Queens and the DTs are just barely out of range of that Spore Crawler detection there.
And that's going to be pretty devastating. He could just warp in yet again. But there's a surround with the drones, and those DTs are gonna be null and void. Oh,
I
look
think
at that!
he should take some of those DTs, move them over to the third. These locusts have broken the cannon wall, and they are now attacking sentries. The first Colossus is nearly finished. That Colossus will be immensely helpful, pulling back some swarm hosts.
And that's a great
this.
answer as well.
It's the proper response, but that's a very good thing. He actually picked off the Spire as well.
But
No
at this
cancel
point-
going down on it either. The Spire just simply died. And these Locusts are now actually getting worker kills, which is huge. Another Photon Overcharge going down that Mothership Core, now having absolutely no energy.
There's
This
not a lot of
Colossus having
army
high
for
ground.
Fenk.
There isn't.
He was forced to use the photon overcharge.
And he's
but there's
floating
not a-
so much money.
Yes, you can't really cost effectively go into a swarm host like this unless you have like some sort of air or an observer with the range of the Colossus.
Ooh,
But
the
I don't
Nidus
even
Worm
see
is
an
going to get
observer.
picked off, and that's going to strand all these units and make reinforcements take a lot longer. The Nexus actually going down, and there's a hidden base.
Ooh,
We missed it entirely, but there is a hidden base. That isn't.
Pretty fancy.
That force field.
But look at this now. Even though there's a hidden base, the economy is looking horrible for the Protoss.
Well, these DTs are now coming down to the third base here. And the Transfuse is stopping the DTs from picking off any queens there. The Zealots have just... the main is completely just ransacked. And this could end up being a base trade situation. And with that hidden Nexus, I'm not sure how the Zerg player can respond to a base trade. Spire
Not
once again
very
going
good.
down.
I mean, there's no Corruptors to really deal with this Colossus, and that's why he wanted the Spire.
Exactly. These Colossus are going to be able to do some damage out of force fields,
Artosis
however, so
Pylon.
these Locusts are now just simply walking in. Artosis Pylon causing that Robo Facility to be unpowered, and it looks like the Robo Facility is actually going to be picked off. And I don't think there are any
do so
observers
much
on... Oh,
damage.
there is one observer on the field with the army. These Zealots are just target firing that Spine Crawler, but with these Queens having so many transfuses, so many worker kills on each player's side right now, drones on hold position.
I like it. I like the position of the Spine Crawler too. It's really hard for Zealots to get a full surround on it.
The Protoss player is ahead on income due to that hidden base. He does not have many workers at that hidden base, however. I'm hoping to see that recall soon, especially since his main is so heavily mined out. He actually recalls his entire army. It looks like he may just be abandoning his main. Or his entire army may be going for a counterattack.
Ooh, that's actually really smart to swoop it in because these swarm hosts are very immobile. There's no Nidus on the other side.
There
This
isn't.
is
The
just a
Nidus
base
worm,
trade moment.
the Nidus Worm is stuck there. There are 2 Corruptors on the field. And that's not enough for 2 Colossus, even though there isn't much anti-air. 1 sentry as the anti-air right now. And all these production buildings are going to be picked off here.
That is actually, I mean, we'll see.
We'll be seeing a base trade.
Aw man, this is a horrible swoop around. Actually, really smart.
Really just a fantastic move here, and especially with that hidden base. And the Zerg Rattler doesn't know where that hidden base is. So he thinks after he kills this one, he'll win the game, when that's not how it's going to go. And these 2 Colossus now, it doesn't matter how many transfuses you have. He just doesn't have what it takes to kill this army.
That's very true. One Archon getting warped in right before the death of it. The Zealot's still around. I mean, this Protoss is being very cost effective.
So true. DT's in the main, picking off everything yet.
Look at that, he's
And-
bringing back Swarm Hosts to deal with this.
He's
That's
bringing
actually
back
really
the Swarm
smart.
Hosts. The Mothership doesn't have enough energy for a recall yet. He will soon, in about 20 energy. But until then... Oh, 1 Colossus actually falls to these Corruptors. Can he kill the hatchery?
Ooh. He might be able to kill the hatchery, but he won't
The
be able
hatchery
to
survives.
get the base raise.
The main, it looks like, will eventually go down.
He has
Both
to know that
armies
there's
are
an expansion.
0-0. Neither player has any upgrades, but this is a lot of Swarm Hosts.
He needs to go and take out as much as he possibly can. Snipe
Warp
the tech,
Prism.
snipe the Dark Shrines.
A Warp In from this Warp Prism here is gonna be helpful. The main is gone. it's just simply gone. There's no more production in the main. There's no more anything.
Ooh. He
And
needs these corruptors to snipe that warp prism. That would be so big on his part.
Well, the thing is, the Zerg player actually can't produce anything besides drones right now. No spawning pool, no lair.
That's very true. But he has corruptors to snipe it, so whatever the thing is, it's almost irrelevant because he needs to get that warp prism off the map.
That warp prism is now heading back. Now, without an observer with that warp prism, I don't think he'll be able to pick off these swarm hosts. And that's an issue, especially with that spore crawl there. It looks like he's going to pick off that other Nidus swarm and load up and back away.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing he can do with that.
We have backup to 6 gateways and a robotics facility, as well as Chrono boosting out +1 attack, the very first attack level for the Protoss player here.
Yeah, the Protoss is fully saturated on his hidden base there.
Yeah, we take a look at the income tab, 700 to about 450. These units are moving into the only mining base here right now for NeoStrIKE, actually the only hatchery as well.
Oh, that's going to be sniped.
And can the hatchery be picked off? The hatchery
Yes,
falls.
it can.
And NeoStrIKE will be being revealed very, very soon. All he has left is 3 geysers, I'm sorry, a spine crawler, and 4 spore crawlers. And that spine crawler and the geysers are off creep. The mothership core does recall when it sees those corruptors. And the Protoss player is now expanding to another base.
And that's exactly the stepping ladder that he needs to continue in. He has a good position here, but he doesn't want to be caught off guard with these swarm hosts. There is no robotics facility. Oh, yeah, there is. So
There
he
is a
needs an
robotics
observer.
facility,
Yes.
indeed. So, this is very strange. The Locust now going to pick off those cannons, and it'll probably get down that proxy pylon. These DTs now just chasing after that Queen. The Queen with only 1 health, 2 health left, survives. There's the GG from NeoStrIKE. A fantastic game on both player sides. That may have been my favorite game from today so far. That was just an incredible game to watch. We had swarm hosts with Nidus worms. We had DTs. We had warp prisms. Oh man, that was great.